Shout out to the sponsors of the podcast, Divi Project. That's diviproject.org, your one-click solution for staking and masternodes. Shout out to monarchtoken.io, the complete crypto solution available for Android, iOS, and desktop. Check out Monarch Token's wallet today. And shout out to Sony.social, the future of social media. That's SOMED.social. Whew. Shilly shill. Hey, DJ Me Popsicle, how goes it? Hey, Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm with my bro, Bagsy. How goes it?
What's up, dude? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming on, bro. Much appreciated.
My pleasure, dude. Yeah, dude, question. How many sponsors do you have? That took you like a good 2 minutes to get through.
The
I'm kind of envious.
The podcast has 4 sponsors now. Bravo has been added to the list. So I have 4 sponsors of the podcast. And yeah, Monarch's been a sponsor all of 2019, actually, which is really freaking cool.
Good for you, man. How did you meet Monarch? I remember meeting them like a month ago with you, I think.
I met them at a lot of conferences and stuff. At the time, I was working with Edge Wallet, promoting their project, and I was actually being sponsored by Paul Puey's Edge Wallet, and that sponsorship deal kind of like had an expiration date on it and was going to renew. And I actually talked to Shay, the other co-founder of Monarch, Robert's partner. And he talked to Robert, and they decided that they would like me to do what I was doing. So basically, like, hey, when you open a wallet in an Uber, can you just open a Monarch wallet? And I was just like, cool, I can do that. And they're like, all right, cool, we'll sponsor your podcast. And I was like, all right, man, I appreciate that. So, yeah, it kind of came up just out of nowhere, really. They were just like, you know, interested in just what I was doing with, you know, just in general. They were like, well, you give away a lot of Bitcoin to Uber drivers. You give away Bitcoin to your waitress, you know. I was even, like, I go to, like, massage parlors, like Hand and Stone, and I tip my masseuse in Bitcoin. So, like, they provide me with the means to be able to do that without really going into my own personal savings and stuff. So, like, if I open a wallet and I give somebody a couple bucks, you know, I get reimbursed. So it's just, it's not like I'm making a bunch of money, but it's not like I'm giving away my own money now. And that's what it's really about. Like, just it's not about like get rich quick. It's like get mass adoption quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the bigger picture, right? Actually get people to use cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's why I like Divi, and that's why I asked them to be a sponsor to begin with. Like, I approached them, and I was like, look, I'm probably gonna like just talk about you guys a lot because like I talk to a lot of real estate investors, and real estate investors I think relate more to the investment opportunities that masternodes provide, as far as like real estate and like, you know, tenants and masternodes and rewards and all this, and renting out your reward, basically getting out a bank loan like on the property. So it's like, it's really relatable. So anyway, Nick was like awesome enough to sponsor as well. So I don't know, just it's different. I don't know why people sponsor me. I'm sitting here smoking a joint with a dude in a mask who nobody knows what it looks like. It makes no sense to sponsor this, but they do. So I like really appreciate the projects in the space that, you know, they don't look for people that are trying to, you know, pretend to be an expert and fucking wear a suit. Like, I'm just me talking about shit. I'm probably going to be wrong, but I mean what I say and I say what I mean. And it's awesome that, you know, companies can support that.
Yeah, that's a really good
You don't
point.
see that in the legacy world, man. You don't see like people smoking weed talking about G Fuel on Twitch, you know, like you have to be like very expert professional like appearance, and that's where there's Annalise. And that's where it starts to get, you know, sketch. Shout out to Bits and Tokens.
Shout out to Bits and Tokens, guys.
Yeah, it's a different environment, and I think that's why, you know, people in traditional markets kind of look at us and they're like, who are these people?
Well, the real reason why, you know, sponsorships are even available for people like me is because the legacy advertising world doesn't want anything to do with blockchain projects. And we could all thank BitConnect for that bullshit, but Facebook, Google, Twitter, it's really hard for a blockchain company to get a legal advertising platform. Like, they'll have to use very shady tactics to get like an ad on Twitter or an ad on Facebook, and it's very weird wording and link to a link to a link, so it isn't directly promoting anything related to crypto and blockchain. And these projects, they have a responsibility to their investors to promote and use funds to promote. And since they can't buy advertisement space on YouTube, as far as like the AdSense goes, they just go right to the streamers, and they support the individuals. So it's funny that these ad companies are basically cutting themselves out as middlemen.
Yeah, it is, and it's an opportunity, right?
It's not going to last forever, that's for sure.
No. What do you think the timeline is on that?
Facebook's Libra coin. As soon as Facebook starts promoting their crypto all over, it'll be hypocritical of them to not allow advertisements for other crypto projects on the platform. And I think that that's a good Trojan horse for them as well, to try to get other projects, followings involved with them and become a community as well for like Libra. So I could see Tron ads and Ethereum ads on Facebook to try and segue that into a Libra following, So I think a year or two from now, the whole influencer space that we see today on like fucking crypto Twitter will not be as lucrative as it is today, because there'll be more legitimate advertisement platforms that can now do business with them.
Interesting. I haven't heard that opinion yet. But,
if you guys are out there, creating content with sponsorships and getting paid to do tweets and shit, that well will dry up, and it will happen overnight. It's not going to be a slow, dwindling thing. It's just going to be overnight. You're going to stop seeing a lot of these, I'm giving away, crypto. Follow them, follow me. That shit will die overnight.
Interesting.
DJ Me Popsicle said, I heard Facebook is now doing KYC, asking for ID for... Yeah, I had to do that, not even for Libra in general, but I had to do that because somebody kept reporting my Facebook page, and eventually Facebook was like, we don't think this is really you. You might be impersonating the person you're portraying to be. If you want to keep this account, please submit, verification of ID. And so I had to send them my driver's license and a bunch of other information that was really unnecessary. But yeah, I had to do Facebook KYC. I didn't get any benefits though. They gave me a verified badge or anything.
If only.
Yeah, and I fucking wish. I really wish there was a way to do that with Twitter.
Yeah, but then the verified badge wouldn't really mean shit.
Well, it would mean.
It still doesn't really mean shit.
If you do KYC, you can't do that because you don't. I use my real name though as my handle, and I feel like even
you've been in articles.
Yeah.
You should have it.
That's what I mean. It wouldn't... Dude, I have an imposter me on Instagram that has more followers than me on Instagram. This dude is a better Ken Bozak than the real Ken Bozak. So, it's insane. But I feel like if I could at least have that verified little thing, it would be like, oh, this is a verified Ken Bozak. The other one isn't. So it'd be clear as day which one is the copy or not. And it would be easier for them to, ban those accounts. Facebook almost banned me for actually being me. And then now there's, fake Instagram versions of me that have more followers than me. And Instagram's they get a lot of clicks, bro. Deal with it.
Yeah, they're good for our engagement. Suck it up.
Yeah. So, out in Vegas, bro, did you end up getting any sponsors or anything? There was a lot of, projects in there that were looking, for content creators, influencers, podcasts, and et cetera.
Yeah, I'm talking to a few right now. But yeah, it was a really good opportunity to meet people, and you're definitely good at introducing people, so it's...
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's a little bit of what I do at events, too. On... not so much the front end of Ken Bozak, but when I go to a lot of these conferences, there's a lot of the times I'm connecting dots, and because I connect dots give me a 5 to 10% appreciation, and it's not it's something that's discussed beforehand. It's not oh, well, you have to pay, it's just hey, man, I heard you were looking for a smart contract auditor, and this guy audits smart contracts, his whole company, and they're oh, his company needs this, his company needs that, oh, thanks, Ken, and then I get a DM every once in a while with a thank you, and it's really that's like something a lot of people miss the ball on at conferences is when you're introduced to somebody and they're like, if you fucking listen to people and you pay attention to who they are and what they're doing in the industry, you can play matchmaker like fucking Tinder and just start swiping right on people until they, like you can build an incubation yourself, just going to a conference and connecting these dots. And right, like I said, right now it's so early that a lot of the projects, and it is part of their business model and incentives for the continuation of this to, monetize and reward you for connecting them.
Amen.
Yeah, like I hooked up
You're like a bounty hunter.
Yeah, dude. Exactly. Except the bounties haven't even been made yet. I'm trying to get the bounty before they even realized there was one. Like
that free bounty.
What's his name? Anthem from Anthem Gold, the Hercules blockchain. I introduced them at the Coin Agenda conference to that Coconut Joe guy. Did you see that? The dude at Coconuts?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was weird. But he wanted to tokenize the coconuts and use blockchain to do supply chain issuance and like proof of origin and tracking. And he wanted to utilize some IoT device, so like an Internet of Things. And I was like, I don't know if you knew this, but the Anthem blockchain, when I was at Futurist, there was peaches, pears, and apples, all kinds of fruit, and all the fruit had a little, how like when you get an apple, it has a QR code that you peel off. Yeah. Well, they had these little QR codes that were like supply chain codes, so you could like follow where the apple came from like tree to truck to the grocery store to your table, and it's really interesting. So like I connected dots like that, and I don't know, that was really cool. I really hope that coconut ends up on the blockchain.
Yeah, seriously. But question: do you think people give a fuck where the coconut went, or the apple, or
the people that
on average,
no, not on average, but the people that shop at Trader Joe's, those fucking weirdos, they care. They really care for almost no fucking reason. So if you could get an organic banana on the blockchain, I'm sure there's somebody that lives in a cul-de-sac that's willing to pay an extra 10 cents for that.
Fair enough. So from for averaging everything out, it's when you talk to people, listen. I think that's the most important thing I grasp from all this. So when someone tells you what they're doing for work, like listen, take their info down, and you never know how you can help them later down the road. And it's not necessarily about what they can do for you at first, but more what you can do for them.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, that's why I take business cards from people I personally could give a shit less about. Like, I don't care about taxes or fucking smart contract auditing or any of that stuff, but these are the people that other people do care about. You know what I mean? Like, these are the solutions to problems other companies and projects have. So when I find those people that are in the audience, and their main reason for being there usually is, I'm looking for something to do in the space. I'm looking for a job, or I'm hiring. I'm looking for a coder. That's why I'm here. 50% of it might be, investors' interest and stuff like that. But a lot of it is looking for work. And that's where I take the business cards and I'll fold a corner of it or something to make it look different than the other ones, as like an indicator for like, this guy's looking for, money. Remember him when conversations come up. Go through my little fanny pack and I look at all my bent business cards and I'm like, oh, this is the guy that does, the taxes for blockchain smart contracts. And that's, it just makes it, I don't know, like more of a relationship building thing than just like a one-time meet and greet. Like, I don't really reach out to people that I meet at conferences all the time, other than, if a business opportunity presents itself. And because I keep searching for those opportunities, then the reason to engage with these people on and on again throughout the years keeps presenting itself. And it's, I don't know, it's like when I go to these conferences now, it's more like a family reunion. I see so many familiar faces, and that's where it gets real fun again for connecting people together. Is like, I already know 20 to 30% of the audience and what they do, and if I meet another couple percent, I can already play matchmaker. So it's just, over time, going to a conference has been a small little business that a lot of people just miss out on. They just go and they think all I'm doing is going and smoking weed and spending money. But I make money on the floor. Like I do work. It's just I don't consider myself a professional. I'm just enjoying the ride, and I don't think there's any way for anybody to fire me. Like, it isn't like I have employer
a
that
boss.
right. There's no boss that allows me to go to a conference and connect dots and make money. So I can do that with or without anybody's permission. And the fact that I can pull it off in my pajamas just makes it even more fun.
That's the dream. And
Yeah.
pajamas are great.
Yeah, thank you. I'm rocking my walrus ones right now. But
What you got on today? Let's see this.
I got these guys. They're unicorns and walruses at war with pugs and cats.
Nice.
But you know, I don't know. Have you had like? I know you've met a few people at World CryptoCon and other places, and like you're talking about like, you know, getting sponsors and stuff. But have they had any issues with like your mask and stuff and like your public anonymous, you know, persona? Because I know at the time, now Michael Nye had to basically demask himself to appease the sponsors behind a lot of his content.
Right. Right. That's a good question. I think some may have been turned off by it if, you know, being doxxed is something they require. But at the same time, I've also worked with a few projects that don't mind at all. So it's, I don't know, it depends. Then you have the opportunities that you don't necessarily know about because they never approached you in the first place. Yeah. So it's really hard to know the true balance of it. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm a trader. That's what I do. And so all the, you know, sponsorships, all that kind of stuff is kind of secondhand. Like, I like making money, which is why I'm, you know, ears open for it. But it's only more so now that I've grown that I'm starting to get offers, and it's so it's new to me, which is why I reached out to you so we can have this kind of chat, see what kind of pointers you can maybe give to me or the community. But yeah, and that's
yeah, it's interesting. Like when I started getting a couple followers and people reached out to me to sponsor content, I was like super turned off at first. I was like, well, this is just sketchy. What kind of idiot's gonna give me money for things I've been doing for free? You know, like you talk about whatever exchange you're trading on because that's the exchange you're trading on. So why are they even asking to give you money? It doesn't make any sense. But it does from their side to incentivize more, and you know, the whole like.
It's because you'll talk better about them, hopefully.
Right.
That's why I pay people, I think. And, you know.
Well, that's a thing, like, you know, you see in a lot of deals with contracts. Like, I don't sign any contracts with any of my sponsors. It's like a pay-as-you-go kind of thing because odds are I'm probably going to say something that's, you know, not so great about your project, but it's also probably fucking true. You know, like, this space is still in a very beta tester error. So we're going to run into a lot of bugs with fucking everything. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes there's shitstorms, and, you know, sometimes those shitstorms are projects that you're sponsored by. You have to kind of acknowledge that shit. And I don't sign any contracts, period, like with anybody. And there's no sponsors that I've ever had to deal with that are like, you have to, like, no one's ever had to send me a script, like read off a script. You have to say this.
Really? Yeah, I've gotten both of those. I've gotten contract and I've gotten a speech, but I didn't go with the
I guess they know from like my personality, my tweets, and the way I engage with my followers that I just don't do that.
You're unspeechable.
Yeah, I don't copy paste stuff to promote things. I use my own words. Sometimes maybe they're not worth what they wanted to, or you know, whatever. But no refunds in influencing, bitch.
Yeah, what do you think is the number one mistake a person can do when promoting another project?
Tell everybody that you're actually getting paid to promote it. It's fucking stupid. It's poor OPSEC 101, especially when it comes to taxation and the IRS. And I know the whole community, I was talking to Annalise about this last night, like, it's stupid that the community is totally for synonymousness and privacy and all these things until it comes to influencing, and they're like, you should tell everybody how much you got paid and by who, and like, but that is very, like, that's a criminal implication on myself. I am now making myself a target for the fucking IRS. You know, I don't want to get audited. I really don't. And I'm not paying taxes on crypto. I don't believe in taxation. All of it is fucking theft. Like, the only tax I believe in is sales tax, because I can't really avoid it, and Bitcoin transaction fee. That's the truest taxation of them all. So, I'm not going to pay tax on my opting out of the US dollar and believing in a different currency. I refuse to do that. I mean, I'm not trading, so there's a difference, I would guess, there. But holding a cryptocurrency and using it as a currency as it gains value, and to tax that is just disincentivizing the actual opportunity at hand. Tax, yeah, exactly, Spencer, tax is theft. So when people are out there and, getting paid to do these tweets and promotions and stuff, as long as it doesn't, in my, opinion, look like it's misleading or overhyping it in some kind of sunshine rainbowy way, then you don't mention that shit. We know it's obvious when you're saying, hey, go follow Monarch Token and I'll give you guys $100, I'll pick a winner, that was sponsored, but you don't have to say that shit. And I know that it's legal, the law requires you to do this, but I don't believe in that law because it's poor privacy protection for me as an individual from the government itself. I'm not worried about my peers as much as I'm worried about my government's prosecution of me being sponsored by. And what if I get sponsored by a project that ends up scamming people and I did my due diligence and they just Quadriga. That's a legit exchange, but it basically scammed everybody. So what if I was a Canadian influencer getting paid by a legit exchange that did this exit? Now maybe I'm liable for the users I got to use my referral link and blah, blah, blah. It's just a stupid thing that the community wants people to do, that they wouldn't necessarily do themselves. And it's just scary to be this tweet is being sponsored and paid for by this, this is how much I got paid. This is the blockchain Block Explorer link. Click here to see the transaction.
Yeah, and oh my god. Yeah, that goes too far. But I don't know.
I see a lot of people saying that, hey, look at Crypto finally's here.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hey, how goes it?
Good to see you. I'm sorry, the doggy's chasing
My
me.
doggy's gonna go nuts. Well,
Nice
the gang, yeah, fuck her Binance hoodie. It was the first thing I noticed when she walked in, and I thought that
I
silently.
cannot hear you guys.
Can't hear us over that loud ass Binance hoodie.
Are you stuck?
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you guys doing today?
Headed to Philly, walking around South Street, enjoying the city, and I have a meetup at the Irish Pub. It's 2007 Walnut Street in Philly, and we're gonna have some drinks and just hang out, listen to Nathan Hawk rant about God knows what, and just try to get the community to engage with projects in this space. Try to get these people off of things like Facebook and Twitter and onto different platforms like SoMe. You know what I mean? Try these other things out that use blockchain not so much as just a currency, but as a technology.
As a utility.
Exactly. Bravo Coin. They do reviews. So when I get to the bar, I'm gonna do, hey guys, do a review on Bravo instead of on Yelp, and you can see the difference. It's monetized. You can earn by engaging with this technology, and it's not so much cryptocurrency in your face. It's more just a platform that utilizes it in the background.
Fair enough. Well, I forgot to ask you, what's your opinion about a mask and dealing with companies? Do you think it's
I wish I did
drawback?
If I had a time machine and I could only do one thing, and I could either tell myself buy more Bitcoin or wear a mask, I would have told myself to wear a mask. Absolutely.
For real, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, I was the dude. I was dumb. I had to move because of this. But I used to walk out of my apartment like Mr. Rogers with my fucking screen, and my address is in the background. And I get weird shit in the mail. Sometimes cool stuff. Sometimes drugs. And I wasn't mad, but holy shit,
I wasn't mad.
I'm serious, yo. I would open up a box and there would be fucking weed and shit or other drugs, and I'm what the fuck is happening? And I get random, boxes of swag from different crypto projects. I think the most random one, who was it that sent me that hoodie? I think it was Zencash. It might have been Zencash. Some random project sent me a hoodie because I ended up like getting cut and I was bleeding on the t-shirt I got at their booth at a conference. So like I was like oh no, I ruined my t-shirt, and like next thing you know, in the mail I got a fucking box. Like, how did they know my address? And I'm like, oh, I guess it's It's really easy to find my address.
Yeah, probably.
But that and my
Fair enough.
name, I kind of wish I didn't use my real name because
Right.
just for like platforms and
Mhm.
for having your phone number ported, things like that. Like I can't call AT&T and be like, "Yo, my name's Bagsy. What's up? I
Yeah.
need to transfer my phone number." But
All right.
it is possible for somebody to call my bank or call my phone provider or whatever and pretend to be me because
Screw you over.
they know my name now. So funny enough, I was thinking I was actually going to legally change my name, like on my driver's license, change
Mhm.
my name, but keep Ken Bozak as my stage name.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when people call AT&T and say they're Ken Bozak, they'll be like, "We never heard of you."
Who are you? Yeah, well, have you found a way to kind of counteract that by just getting a pay-as-you-go, or
Yeah, I use VoIP only now with an
right?
email I don't give out. So like I've learned because I've been hacked before. So I've learned that using a different it sucks, but you have to use a different email for every website you log into. For every time you
Yep.
create an account, new email, create new email, done. You just that's the process. So I have an email that I specifically use for my VoIP, and because I never give out that email, I don't have to worry about it because there's no tech support for VoIP. You know what I mean? You are be your own bank, be your own phone provider. That's the equivalent there. And shout out to Alex Machinsky for hooking us up with that technology.
Mm-hmm.
Other things is like just like I said, giving out your phone number or whatever. Like I have two phone numbers. I have things like that. I have an email that I'll give out to people, like you or my friends and whatever family. I'll be like, hey, here's my email, but that email isn't used for anything other than that. You, me, and my
Right.
friend. My phone number that I give to people is not the phone number that I use for 2FA anymore. I learned that lesson real quick. So if you have, one phone number that you're giving your, friends and you use that phone number to receive 2FA codes, you stupid. Get a new phone
Right.
number. Use that phone number for 2FA codes. And
Well,
yeah,
I would say don't even use SMS
yeah,
2FA. Period.
yeah. I actually turned it. I turned it off until I had the VoIP. So I did. I do have it on because of the way my VoIP is set up,
Yeah.
and that's about it. And you know what, dude? We should cover this too, since we're talking about 2FA. How
Right.
many people don't back up their 2FA? Like, I didn't know that
That,
that was a thing people didn't do, but when you have a two-factor authentication for like Google Authy or whatever two-fact, you have a private key essentially that you can write down, and if you lost that 2FA app or phone, you can get it back. But if not, you're beat.
yep.
I mean, you're a
And
trader, so I'm sure you know to back up your 2FA. But how many people
I,
that you know that you would think that they have done this?
dude, I've made the mistake before though. So not for everything, but for one thing, I forgot to transcribe it. But luckily, the company was responsive and they helped me out without KYC or anything. But I think that was because you know Twitter and all that.
Mm,
If you're a bigger account, people are more apt to help you because you know
that's true. I flexed
you can
once or
help them.
twice. Small
Yeah.
flex.
Yeah. But that's the cool part, when you actually know people in the community and you're good to people, people
Yep.
will generally be good to you.
You
That's
know,
just how
there's
it works.
there's a really good middleman now, which I guess doesn't get a lot of love in this space, but
Hmm.
middlemen aren't always too bad. I'm sure you heard of Coinbound, right? And
Yeah,
the
of course.
young dumb crypto guys that are working with them.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to talk to them at all about like maybe Voyager, Invest Voyager? Because Invest Voyager has an influencer, content creator campaign that they're
Hmm.
doing, and Coinbound is sort of like the pimp of that, scenario where they work things out. And I like having Coinbound in between me and my sponsors because it's like I can kind of sit back and relax a little bit and not say so much like I don't have to do my own due diligence, but I did my due diligence with Coinbound, and now from there they investigate and do their own due diligence on projects that they work with. So I am only getting offers now from people that I can actually work with if I want to, instead of like, oh, this project's offering me this. Now let me spend 5 fucking hours for free investigating them to see if it's worth actually talking about.
Yeah, no, they reached out to me, and I saw them in Vegas as well. So they're definitely around.
Yeah, they invited me to the VIP party and then never gave me
Mhm.
the fucking room number. So you know what, Invest
Uh,
Voyager, you guys dropped the ball because I had like 20 blunts rolled for Charlie Shrem and it could have been a great time, but yeah,
oh,
no, you guys fucked up.
oh, no. Oh, I
Yeah,
was
dude.
there, bro.
I wanted to
That
smoke with
sucks.
Charlie on my birthday so
Oh man, I would have
bad,
loved to play.
bro. I tweeted it
Yeah,
too. I kept
that's
tweeting them. I was
true.
like, "Yo, Invest Voyager, where the fuck is this party at Charlie Shrem? Where the hell are you?"
Ah,
Yeah, by the time I found out, dude, we were already. I think I ended up hanging out with Charles at the bar or something. Something like that happened.
mhm.
But yeah, there was a
Very
couple
cool.
exchanges
Yeah,
there that were definitely looking for traders that could work with them in a way, you know. And like that's the thing. I
yeah.
don't really like to work with exchanges or things that I don't necessarily use myself. Like if I'm not
Right.
using
It's a
it
bit hypocritical.
regularly, not even hypocritical because I mean like if I
Well, it
understand it
is.
and I wouldn't.
Huh?
Well, not really because like
It's like, hey, I don't use this, but you should.
well, if I did use an exchange, I would use Binance without a doubt. Like I would use Binance as my exchange, as a trader. But I don't trade. So if Binance
Mm.
were to offer me something as
But
a
that's
sponsorship, I would
different. That's
accept it
different,
because
Ken.
well, that's what I mean though.
Because you're
There's
trusting them. You're trusting them with your money. So that's different than, whether you're a trader or not, you're executing a trade. So that's.
But no, that's what I'm saying is I don't use Binance because I don't trade. But if I
Mm.
did, I would. Therefore,
Oh,
I
okay, my
could work
bad.
with them,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
similar things like that. Like there's like other projects in the space. Like I never really been sponsored by Anthem Gold or Hercules, blockchain or whatever. But I love what they do. Like seriously, their supply chain like solution is insane. They have partnerships. They're being utilized. It's amazing. So like I bring them up to a lot of projects that are looking for supply chain issuances, and it just like that's where I get some kickbacks from that project and stuff, but it's not like a sponsorship. And I would never use a blockchain for supply chain personally. I have no use for it. But that doesn't mean
Right.
I can't figure out a way to work with them.
Right, because there are other people who do want to use it and who need users. So that's just what matters. It's not necessarily what you're in need of. It's, yeah, the other people.
Spencer says I don't trust exchanges. Yeah, I mean, dude, never. You shouldn't trust any exchange with like a
You
trust
shouldn't trust
fall.
any uninsured exchange. There are
Right.
some insured ones within the states and
Well, then
probably
you're
various other
trusting their
countries too.
insurance too, right? So.
Well, I mean, if they have I mean, you're right. There's always that thing, that
Well,
elephant in the room.
wasn't Quadriga insured? The Canadian exchange, and they're
Oh,
not able
dude,
to repay that debt.
that's a very good point.
It happens. Like when it
Yeah.
comes to trusting an exchange, it's a very, very in the moment thing. I don't think anybody's using an exchange as a hardware wallet for cold storage. I think the most long term platform people probably leave their keys in, which is insured, is Celsius Network. So it's not like it's an exchange, but they're earning interest on their holdings there, and it's insured. But I think Poloniex used to do that, where you could,
Yeah.
I used Poloniex for that, where you could loan out your crypto like every 2 days on like a 48-hour reoccurring loan. So every
Right.
2 days you got your money back, or you could just have it auto loan again. And so you only didn't have your keys for like 2 days. But yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust any exchange as like a permanent place to have it. As soon as you execute a trade, you should get that shit off of there. But like I know you deal with this a lot, man. These transaction fees for being a trader has to be like a write-off, right? Like if taxes come rolling into what you're doing with
Yeah, of
crypto
course.
trading, all
Yeah.
those transaction fees from wallet to exchange, then the trading fee, and then another exchange fee from exchange to wallet. There was 3 fees there.
Yeah. It varies from country to country. But yeah, there are a lot of fees attached to this stuff, and you have to account for everything.
Spencer says Poloniex was an awful exchange. You, sir, did not utilize the platform correctly. Poloniex was the best exchange until Circle purchased it. Period.
Yeah.
Period. I loved Poloniex. Their troll box, man, was like,
It was the.
fuck. Fuck. And so many people will never be able to experience that again because it will never happen. No exchange in the ever will create a troll box ever.
Doesn't BitMEX have one?
Does it? No way.
Yeah, man.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, go on BitMEX right now. It's there.
I don't trade, but I swear to God, that was like my AOL chat room. I was like, that's where I lived in the troll box on Poloniex, like as a chat room. And that's where I would just like learn about things. Yeah, make friends and just like find links to other things. And yeah, it was really like the troll box was the best place to kind of, go like survive the Darwinism of Bitcoin and stuff. Like, you know, a lot of people were taken advantage of because they were gullible and overly excitable with information, but it's
still that way. It's still that way, just with a few more bruised souls.
Well, you know what happened as soon as Poloniex got rid of the troll box, you know, everybody started creating these paid groups. You know, they had these, you know, Telegrams and Slack channels and Discords that you could be, you know, you could subscribe to and you could pay to be in a new troll box.
Crazy times, man. They'll never be the same.
Never, man. And I feel bad for these people because they don't, you know, they're not going to have the same hardships and life lessons. Like, you know, it's like all these, you know, millennials and kids being raised, you know, super snowflakey and sensitive to shit. And I grew up in an era where I got punched in the back of the head just for wearing a pink pair of pants. You know, like, I'm a hell of a lot tougher thanks to that shitty upbringing. And, like, I feel the same way in crypto. Like, I'm a hell of a lot tougher in this crypto space because I've survived, you know, I survived the DAO hack. I survived Bitcoin forks. I've survived exchange exits.
You've survived personal shit. You survived a lot.
And all these people are coming into this, you know, somewhat polished off environment where they're not going to be ready for that next event. Like, there's always going to be these, I would say, like, cleansing periods, you know, where we see these projects and platforms kind of just fade out, either due to regulations or mismanagement of funds. Like, how many projects exited not because they were scams, but because they didn't sell their own coins and hedge into fiat, and they didn't survive the dip, so they couldn't pay their developers or their server fees or anything. Like,
Substratum is one that comes to my mind.
EOS and Tron and Ethereum, that was fucking hilarious to watch Justin just buy everybody up during the layoff moment.
Yeah, but that's a really and there will always be a coming and going, right? And I think it's going to be harder for companies to, you know, acquire funds. It's going to be harder for companies to acquire trust. And the space, I think, is getting a bit more and more toxic as we go along, especially as price decreases. So, you know, you and I both see how people can be, you know, vicious, lash out, be out of persona. It's a very good time to be good to people right now.
That is true, man. And I think a lot of people are self-regulating as far as, like, you know, sponsored content and stuff like that goes, because they don't want to end up like, you know, Trevon James with the whole BitConnect thing. Like, he did pretty well, but he lost a lot himself in that, you know, scam, and no project would work with him again, even though he has a really good following still to this day.
How big was he, you think?
Fucking huge, bro. He had multiple six figures on BitConnect, and that, like, BitConnect was a public thing that you could, you know, so he had multiple six figures on BitConnect. He was doing very well for himself, and now I think the last time I heard, like a few months ago, somebody said he was working at Target. So
okay.
You know, it's just so. I think right now in the space, you're seeing a lot of people be careful what projects they promote and get sponsored by, because not just legal implications, but social ones. You know, they don't want to lose the followers that they've, you know, earned over their time. So, like you said, a lot of these projects are still coming up, and they still need to get the word out about what they're there for. Like, you could have a really amazing project, but if nobody knows you exist, you'll never have end users. You'll never see any kind of utility before you fizzle out. Your investors will get frustrated. So, like, that's, you know, again, why you can't see projects go to YouTube and get YouTube ads anymore, but they go to YouTubers and get, you know, that, like I do the Monarch token ad right before this podcast.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Dude, the chat is going crazy. Hold on. Shout out to Cold Shills, BitToro. He said, oh, you're a newbie, bro. DJ Me Popsicles in the chat. Spencer, how goes it? Blockchain Business Magazine. Oh, what's up, man? Forex Lambo wheels. Yo, yeah, it's that's the thing. I think when we're at mainstream awareness right now. Like the mainstream is totally aware of Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna. I don't think we're gonna see mainstream adoption in the sense everybody thinks we will. Like if Bitcoin were to be mainstream, it would have to be like enforced by the government and regulated into like what the petrodollar does now with oil, and that ain't happening. So, but mainstream awareness is definitely there. So like when you start seeing Poloniex NASCARs, like that's in.
Yeah.
You're in. Not saying like
Or Litecoin and UFC.
yes, exactly. That's where that is it. We're here now. I think we're at that turning point of the point of mass adoption as far as we will get for the next 4 years, the next halvening period.
Mm-hmm.
So just get ready to see a lot of people talk about a lot of new projects because they don't have anywhere else to spend money for advertising. It's going to have to come down to individuals. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, so how can I do this? How can I do that? I'm like, I don't know, honestly. I feel like the Buzz Lightyear of crypto Twitter, bro. I totally failed into success. I post fucking dick pics and crypto charts and people followed me. I don't know why and I don't know how. And somehow, I got to monetize that because projects weren't afraid to work with me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you definitely are good at bringing them up in conversation, so I can see the value in that, right?
Yeah, I've always worked in sales and stuff. I was always good at that. Like even as a kid, like one of my first ways of making money to take a girl out on a date was selling candy door to door.
Nice.
But like I didn't really like work with a company or anything, but I would just like go to the dollar store and buy candy and go like with a tub door to door and sell it for like $5. And it worked. I was like, no way. And I was only
good money there.
I was 11 years old when I started doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, I came home with a lizard in a tank from the pet store with like a heat mat and a little water and I had the whole lizard set up. It was like $200 and I'm 11 years old and I walked into the house and my mom almost beat my ass cuz she thought I was stealing. Like she had no clue what I was doing and I was yeah. I was like I'm going to strangers' houses and seeing if they want to buy candy, Mom. Is that cool with you? It wasn't.
No.
No, it was not cool.
Jesus. Well, at least it didn't keep you out of the spirits, right?
Right, man. I've always been like that entrepreneurial mindset. Even when I had gigs, like I was working as a contractor for a while with a construction company, and I did framing, I did roofing, and I did other things like siding and like window installation, stuff like that. And even on my days off, if I was driving around and I saw somebody who had a shitty roof or fucked up windows or like, didn't have the double pane ones for the season, I'd be like, stop my car, knock on the door. Yeah. And I did some canvassing and I actually ended up making more money as a canvasser than I did as a laborer. And because I had started doing the canvassing, my boss was just like, well, why don't you just become a foreman? So you know how to do the framing, you know how to do the roofing. Why don't you just have 3 guys do that job, and while they're working, you walk around the neighborhood and you get people to get new roofs. And I ended up making even more because of that. So it was really always been part of me to like be my own boss or do my own thing in a way to like make something out of something else. So like having a bunch of followers and the way that the legacy advertising space is, it just made sense to kind of monetize it. And, I don't feel like I'm misleading anybody in anything. Like, I've never promoted BitConnect. If anything, I followed how these projects lost people money. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, dude, if you made it this long, odds are you'll keep going, right?
Fingers crossed. But again, I think as soon as these mainstream companies, Google AdSense starts saying, come on in, blockchain ads, I don't see a single content creator on Twitter making any money to do any tweets from anything legit. In a couple years from now, you will only see scams being fucking tweeted about and promoted through that bullshit, and because the legit companies are going the other route. You might see, smaller and more like professional things, like how like Red Bull sponsors, Ninja. You know what I mean? Like that's a rarity, but they're not. Red Bull's not sponsoring somebody with 10,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, no,
So
exactly.
there's a big difference.
Fuck, they'd probably, if I were to get that, they'd probably make me wear like bull horns or something. You know what I mean? In 2 years, watch me, bro. I'll be the Red Bull guy. So with that in mind, how are you gonna pivot?
I'm already trying to kind of with I'm trying to make friends in the gaming environments. A lot of the the gamers that stream. For a little while, I was streaming myself playing blockchain games like Steam Monsters and Ethereum,
right?
Or Mytherium and other things like playing with these DApps. So I might end up using my platform, my YouTube channel and stuff, because my name isn't Bitcoin Ken or whatever, Ken Bitcoin or not, and it's not Crypto Bozak. It's my YouTube channel is literally just Ken Bozak. So I could talk about anything really on my platform. So I might segue into just gaming. I did pretty well in crypto, so I get to stay home and play video games all day anyway. And I might as well monetize that, right? I mean, it just makes sense. So that might be the next thing I do. I did adult content for a while. I'm thinking about getting back in shape as a form to motivate myself to start doing porn again. And probably work with Verge and Pornhub. That would be a goal.
Interesting.
Yep. And the cannabis industry. I smoke a lot. I know enough about cannabis that I could have a podcast about that. So as cannabis starts to get more mainstream and take off, I might even start something like a podcast.
The podcast? That's cool, man.
Yeah, so I mean, I have my eyes on other industries, but it's not so much like I'm trying to pigeonhole myself, because like I never really thought that my whole social presence would just be about cryptocurrency ever. It was about me and my life, and I was just being very public about my my life in a social way, and I ended up getting personally involved in crypto a lot, so it became a lot more of what I talked about, but it's not everything and all I do. I like to talk about adult content things. I like to talk about cannabis and gaming and crypto and other things. So I'm looking at kind of broadening those horizons of topics as this space picks up more. There's so many podcasts right now in Bitcoin, dude. We're in a podcast bubble. Podcasts are in a bubble. Wait for like 99% of these podcasts to not exist in 2 years.
Which one do you think will?
The ones that have the most opportunity to succeed is definitely Peter McCormick's. Peter McCormick's podcast will probably be one of those that go on forever. He could probably be like the Larry King of fucking podcasts and crypto. Group ones, though, it's hard. I mean, networks, though. I mean, we got Bitcoin Radio, and you got Let's Talk Bitcoin. It's hard to say like which podcast. I feel like a lot of them are just very momentary. Like if these people were to if Bitcoin goes to $1 million of Bitcoin, I don't see a lot of these content creators doing it out of passion anymore. You're gonna see a lot of Lambo and island posts and jacuzzis with margaritas type shit rather than charts and when moon type posts. You know what I mean? Like, so I got to look at the people that are in it for the love of it, regardless of the money. Maybe Pomp, his podcast would probably be another legacy one. I don't think I think he could be a billionaire and he'd still fucking do his podcast.
Cool.
Or Bitcoin could go to $1 and he'd still do his podcast.
And if Bitcoin went to $1, you'd really see who's in it for the tech or not, right?
Yo, if Bitcoin went to $1, bro, I'm selling kidneys. Like it would make no sense for it to be that undervalued because there's no way the dollar bill is that valuable. Somebody tweeted earlier, they were like, so I think it was Cody or somebody said like, when's Bitcoin going to be 100K? And I was just like, well, the dollar loses value every day. Bitcoin doesn't gain value as fast as the US dollar loses value.
That's funny.
So it's only a matter of time till it costs more dollars to purchase a Bitcoin. It's not. People are looking at it the wrong way. They have the wrong perspective of of where this is headed, and the pairing power isn't on the USD side of the chart. The pairing power is on the BTC side of the chart. And just wait for people to realize that.
Well, we'll see in a few years what the outcome is. But overall, this is the last point I'll bring up, and then I'm sure you have a lot of things to do today. Like mainstream getting involved in everything. Mainstream will get re-involved when the price is just so, attractive but unattractive, as in, we break 20K to the upside. If that happens, then mainstream's going to get re-involved, and then I think we'd see another bubble-like market cycle as we've seen before. It's nothing new, and we've seen it in many different markets. So we're going to get that. I think eventually we're going to get another bull run. It's natural. It's going to happen. And from there, you'll get your podcasts, and they might sell the top. I might sell my Bagsy mask collection on eBay. I'm thinking ahead.
You better put them on the blockchain, because I want to make sure that that's a real mask from Bagsy, bro.
Yeah, man.
Well, you brought up the bull run and stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on the potential? A lot of people don't realize, like, the bull run that we've seen previously didn't have as much working against it as this bull run has against it, meaning the futures market, right? Like, the futures is really what kind of killed Bitcoin in a sense, where, the legacy investors that don't have BTC, well, they basically were like, why would I bet on it going up when I could just buy it, right? So they basically bet on it going down. Traders like yourself and other, Bitcoin and crypto trading, people, they look at that. And yeah, they basically trade it based off the futures predictions. It basically became a forecast instead of a prediction, right? It was crazy what happened. And now we're looking at other situations where we're like paper Bitcoin, like with the ETFs and things like that. Like Bitcoin has a lot working against it to see that new all-time high price. Do you think that it's possible that it can't be manipulated to the point that it may not see a new all-time high?
That's a great question. I don't know. I know that one way to keep people out of Bitcoin, since it's not bannable, would be to keep it below $1,000 for a very long time by manipulating the market in some way. I don't want to pretend like I necessarily have the answer, but I wouldn't rule anything out. However, I know at some point as well, supply meets demand and there's a pushback. So as long as the fundamentals don't change and people increasingly need cryptocurrency and are increasingly introduced to it, then I think we will see what I'm talking about. But if for some reason, it turns out crypto isn't really a solution and maybe blockchain technology is, but not so much the cryptocurrency itself, then that might play out. But I'm leaning towards option one, the better one, obviously. I wouldn't be here if I weren't.
I still think Bitcoin sucks as money. It sucks, bro.
It's not really a currency.
It, but I use it for political reasons, not financial reasons. Like when I send Bitcoin to somebody and I pay that transaction fee, I'm not sad about it or upset about it because I believe in that taxation. It's truly represented with its use, its utility. But I start to worry about it as a currency when it comes to being immutable, and it's not. When I think about the electric companies who provide power to the miners, who are obligated by regulations to follow the law, and if the law says power companies cannot provide these massive mining facilities with electricity anymore unless the mining facilities are government run or have a license from the government. And then that's where I start to get my tinfoil hat on real tight. I start to not have I don't believe personally, I really don't believe Bitcoin will, or any cryptocurrency that we have right now, will ever see mass adoption, because it has to be regulated by law and enforced by a government military to be used. So if the US government says Bitcoin or war, like they do with basically the US dollar, then that's mass adoption for Bitcoin, and that will never happen.
Time will tell.
I hope I'm wrong, but I want to be on the skeptical side because I am all in. I have all Bitcoin. I have no dollars, so I don't want to be like so far in that box that I get absorbed by it. Because I stepped out of that box recently and I've tried to observe Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, BSV. I've been looking at these other blockchains as the text that they are without the politics behind them, and dude, I'm happy that Bitcoin Cash is around now that we've seen these exploits happen with Mimblewimble and all this talk about how SegWit has become more and more dangerous, and I'm just appreciative now of all these alternative currencies rather than being a hater, because like fine, if one fails, thank God there's another, because fuck fiat.
Thing is, if Bitcoin fails,
it'll take 11 years plus a day for whatever coin pops up next, right? Like it'll have to be a day longer than Bitcoin's blockchain lasted. But right now we're seeing the biggest threat to SHA-256 encryption ever. Google is flexing their quantum computing powers very heavily. If they really want to prove that they have solved quantum computing in a level that is impressive to the world, they only have to focus it at fucking Satoshi's private keys and just let it go. You know what I mean? And if they could solve that, encryption, they could prove that they have built a quantum computer. And Bitcoin is the best honeypot for that, right? Like, so the longer it survives, the better it is, the more it's worth. But if it ever did fail, you're right. It would be a long, long, long run until anything else is close again.
At the same time, then I could be wrong, but couldn't the community vote on forking to a higher encryption? I think. I could be mistaken. I don't want to talk on my ass, but
I talked to Max Kaiser about this actually a little bit, which is funny. Yeah. So if you guys are looking at anything stronger than SHA-256, look at Kaiser Coin. Max Kaiser created his own cryptocurrency with a different encryption algorithm that is allegedly much stronger than Bitcoin's, and it is. I guess it would be possible for the community to see Kaiser Coin's blockchain and utilize that encryption as well moving forward, but you'd have to worry about previous things in the blockchain that could be exploited, and people wallets that haven't been moved or whatever be still SHA-512. Thank you, DJ Me Popsicle. I appreciate you.
Yeah. ×2. But yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. So I guess we can wrap things up here, bro. Yeah, where can people go to find you? What's your address? What's your real name? What's your face look like?
I'm Bagsy. You can hit me up on Twitter at I'm Bagsy, quite simply. On Twitch as well, Bagsy TV, either or. Ken, thanks so much for having me, man. I definitely learned a few things, and it's always cool hanging out with you.
Dude, I appreciate it, and dude, I hope that you find yourself sponsored again before it's too late, because I feel like this well will dry up, and I hope it doesn't happen too soon for the people that actually truly deserve it and could utilize the funds for mass adoption. Like I said, it's not really just about putting money in your pocket. It's about getting some money to give back to the community. Yeah, and if you can shout out a good project at the same time, fuck yeah, man. So good luck, bro, and everybody.
Thanks.
If you trade, check out Bagsy, bro. He stays busy on Twitter, so you won't be bored.
I got no life. This is my office.
All right, we're out of here. Have a day.
Ciao.
Shout out to Somi.social, sponsors of the podcast. Somi, that's SOME.social, the future of social media. And MonarchToken.io, the complete crypto solution available for Android, iOS, and desktop devices. Check out their new reoccurring and invoice creation in wallet. The Divi Project, the one-click solution for staking and masternodes. That's diviproject.org. Hi, Mom, I'm a shill.